Right, okay, let's go. Hi, I'm Cam. Welcome to the adaptational zone. I like to read, I like to talk. You probably know this. Welcome to the adaptational zone. I'm going to do a really fast run through. It's going to be really fast so we don't take like 3 hours. I've not yet earned that sort of video essay. This is going to be a really fast run through of an incomplete, non-exhaustive list of adaptational works that I have read, watched, played, etc. I really like adaptational works. I really like not necessarily fan work. One could argue that it's fan work, but what if Sleeping Beauty was a dark young adult romance, right? So I'm gonna run through a bunch of these types of stories that I have engaged with. I'm going to try to be one, very fast. Two, a lot of these I have not read recently, so they're going to be a little bit nostalgia tinged, generalized, etc. That's fine, bear with me. Number three, I'm gonna try to not get too in the hater weeds regarding the ones I didn't like. I am going to be fair. I'm gonna say which ones I didn't like, but I'm gonna keep it rolling. I'm gonna keep it moving. I'm gonna say which ones I didn't like, but I will try to keep it rolling, keep it moving, not turn this into a hater fest. Okay, number one, let's go for the Sleeping Beauty zone. I have two of them in the Sleeping Beauty zone. First book in the Sleeping Beauty zone, let's look that up. A Long, Long Sleep by Anna Sheehan. This is a book that was very dear to me in high school. The basic rundown is that it is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty in which the main character went to sleep in a sort of stasis device that she often used, only to find that a world disaster happened. Her parents are dead. They are no longer alive. And she's waking up in a new generation, entirely different world. She has lost all of her loved ones. She has to readjust. And there is a killer robot stalking her down. Spoiler barrier, spoiler zone. The killer robot was sent by her parents. Previously, the killer robot is programmed that if it sees one of their children out in the world, it will either return the child to them or kill the child. If you are a particular kind of teenager, this kind of plot will rock your world. I found it really emotionally affecting. Also, there's a whole plot about how she lost her former boyfriend to just her being held in stasis for so long. The idea of stasis also really gripped me, all the way the book has it. Fascinating book to me. I have not read it recently. Maybe I should. Will I like it more? Will I like it not less? I don't know, but it really affected me in high school. So that is book number one. Book number two, to do the Sleeping Beauty thing. I read this one very recently. It's called Malice by Heather Walter. The thing with Malice by Heather Walter is that I got it on a random recommendation just by seeing it in a list of YA adaptational novels. And when I got it and I started reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, the leads are both girls. Two girls fall in love. A beautiful romance. I was not expecting it. I was expecting your normal head fare. So my impression of this book has been completely raised by the unexpected, beautiful FF romance. Is the book good? I think it is a strong medium. I would not describe it as one of my favorite books. I think parts of it were predictable. I think parts of it definitely make you kind of raise an eyebrow. Parts of the world building definitely make you kind of raise an eyebrow, and you have to like quiet the CinemaSins part of yourself in order to fully enjoy the book. You have to be like, shh, it's okay. But it is also very fun, it's exactly what I want out of a YA adaptational novel. It's more than exactly what I want out of a YA adaptational novel. Do I have the sequel on hold at the library? Yes! Okay, we're out of the Sleeping Beauty zone. Now we are going to face the Alice Gauntlet. I love Alice in Wonderland. You know this. I have engaged with so many adaptational works. Number 1, Hurt no Kuni no Alice, obviously. Moi. Love that one. What more do I have to say? Her name is Anniversary no Kuni no Alice, English translation. Look her up on your computer. Sorry, I just wrote a Tumblr post. Excuse me. I need to go back to my notes. Next one I want to talk about is Disney's Adventures in Wonderland. This is a children's show from, I think, like the 90s. You can watch a Defunctlands episode about it. That's where I first heard of it. It's really good. I've been slowly making my way through all like 90-something episodes. Very fun show. Love it lots. Love to see what they did with the work. Mwah. Very good. Anyway, Adventures in Wonderland is really good. It has maybe my favorite Cheshire Cat. He's a little guy who likes to insult people and be mean and rude to them. I love him very much. There's a very funny blooper with him where he is just desperate for a kiss. It's really good. The Red Queen is very cute. The Hatter and Hare are very fun. The Alice actress is good. The rabbit is doing a lot of very interesting stunts on wheels. The caterpillar is very fun, and the way he pronounces story. I can't do it. I can't do it, but it is in my head. Would you care for a story? Whatever he says. Anyway, that one's very good. Next up is the Disney movie. I think it is a beautiful work of animation. I think it is a wonderful animation showcase. I'm a little resentful of the way it has become the Alice adaptation, because I don't like what it's done with the tone of the work. I dislike that it is now the go-to thing that, well, I say now, I dislike that it has been since I was born the go-to thing that everybody thinks of. I don't personally love some of the aesthetic decisions and character designs, but I do recognize it's extremely influential. I wish it was not as influential because I'm an insufferable nerd. I think that it did a lot to perceive people's thoughts on Wonderland as something sort of random and I mean, it is nonsensical, but like there's logic there, and it makes me sad when people forget that there's logic there. Anyway, you should watch it. You should watch it. I just have a bone to pick with it. It's alright. The one I really, really, really like, let's talk about Alice in Wonderland 1999. Let's talk about the Alice in Wonderland 1999 movie. I really like this one. I watched it once on YouTube a couple months ago. I thought it was super fun. I really liked the framing device of having it be about Alice's fear of performing in public. I thought that was a really cool way to structure it. I thought it did some really cool things with cinematography and costume. Good movie. I liked it. Look it up on your computer. Keep it moving. Shout out to Pandora Hearts. I read that thing a long time ago. I don't remember anything about it except for that one guy. I think his name is Xerxes Break. I hope he's doing well. I mean, if he died, I don't remember. I hope he's having a nice day. Dishonorable mention to Splintered. Wait, hang on. She wrote one about Phantom of the Opera? Man, I have to read Phantom of the Opera and then read this one. Anyway, dishonorable mention goes to Splintered by A.J. Howard and that entire series. I have read that series. I dislike it. I made a promise to myself at the beginning of this video that I would not get bogged down in the hater weeds, so I'm going to try to be quick. I think that on a writing level, it's not that I hated the book 100%. There were things that were fine. But I didn't like a lot of the writing decisions. I felt that introducing characters just lying to the main character about very major things, I remember feeling was done in a way that just made it feel kind of futile to consider any information that the book was giving you in case it would just be revealed as a lie later. That's something I remember feeling. I remember feeling that the second book in particular had almost no forward movement in the plot and was just a lot of like back and forth until we finally decide to move the plot along at the end, and I found that very frustrating. And most of all, the thing I remember about that series is that it felt extremely cruel regarding mental health. It felt like the way that I think that quote unquote madness is always the elephant in the room with Alice in Wonderland's adaptations. More on that in my next book on my list. But I think that the way it was handled in this book was particularly cruel, or at least that's how it came across to me. I know that some people like it. I didn't like it. Another thing that I didn't know at the time, but I do know now. This is a book that's concept is like, and this is what happened to Alice Little's descendant many years later, and that kind of plot no longer has any power over me because I know what Alice Little's descendant is doing years later. You can look her up on your computer. She's out there. I wonder what happened to the little great granddaughter in the future. I wonder what kind of magical adventures she's having. I know now. So it's like, oh, okay. Honestly, I kind of do want to read this book one day. Why not? Who's next on my list? Good shout out to The Curious Case of Mary Ann by Jen Thorson. Love that book. Read it recently. Very good book. Love that thing. I think that she did some very good world building with regard to having Wonderland and Looking Glass elements in the same book, which I think a lot of people just sort of jumble together without any attention paid to it, which I am an insufferable nerd. Right, so I thought that the thought she put into it was very good. I think a lot of the new creature sort of inventions that she made for the book were very good and definitely had some sort of care thought into them and like how they would slot into the original like tone of the book. Like the tone was very well thought out. I really liked the main character. Not that it was like doing the exact same thing, not that it was like trying to match the style exactly, but that it was doing its own thing, but definitely with a lot of respect to what the original like what the author took from the original book. Let's not say something like what the original was trying to do, because who am I? Who am I to know what the original was trying to do? It went very well with what I think the original was trying to do, but who really knows? I thought it was very, very good. I like the characters. I really like the main character. I like the world. I believe there might be more books. I want to track them down. I had to like buy this book. I couldn't find it for rent or ebook anywhere. I would like to read the rest of Jen Thorson's books. I would like to find out more about this author. There was one thing I did not particularly love about the book, which is, again, elephant in the room madness. I felt like some of it was in poor taste. There were probably other things that bugged me about the book too, and I just don't remember them because the book gave me an overall very good impression. But yeah, let's say like 9 out of 10. If there was something terrible in the book that I totally forgot, sorry. What is next on my list? The Tim Burton movie. I haven't seen it yet. I'm actually about to see it with some friends tonight. I guess maybe I'll post an update later. Okay, we did it. That's the Alice Gauntlet. Are there more Alice adaptations? Absolutely. Are there more Alice adaptations that I have taken media from into my eyes with? Yes. Are we gonna go through with them? No, we'll be here all day. Okay, we have 4 more zones to go. We are entering the Rapunzel zone. I saw Tangled a while ago. Honorable mention. I saw Tangled. The people on Tumblr who are into the TV show, I hope you guys are having fun. Yay! I recently read like half of the Book of Gothel by Mary McMine. It was on the same recommendation list as Malice was. Honestly, I did not finish it. I barely ever do not finish books, but it was due back at the library and I found it both very boring to me, and also it was doing some sort of like feminine magic, uterus magic. We need to become fertile. Kind of things that I wasn't really enjoying reading. Far be it from me to posit on the politics of a half-finished book, but I wasn't having a good time, and I also wasn't having a bad enough time to keep going. It's alright, somebody might like it. Recommend? Yeah, sure, give it a try. That is the Rapunzel zone. Beauty and the Beast zone. Beauty and the Beast zone. I want to talk about Beauty and the Beast zone. Have you read Court of Thorns and Roses by, I think her name is Sarah J. Maas? Because a friend recommended it to me. I read that thing. I went on Goodreads afterwards and everyone was like, this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. And I was like, is a what? But now that I think about it, it totally is. As I have said before about this book, it feels very much like a skeletal work, by which I mean it is trying to do something. That something is everybody gather around the campfire, we're going to tell sexy stories, and it does very little to disguise the thing that it is doing. I have not read the second book yet. By freak library accident, I am starting the third because the whole came in first. But I feel like I shouldn't speak about anything but the first book. But I'm told that the rest of the books in the series are not like this, and they're a lot more like it's an actual fantasy politics world building thing. I mean, I like sitting around a campfire and telling sexy stories, but I enjoyed the first book. I thought it was fun. I like children's books and children's TV shows, children's media for the same matter, because often they have like an actual curriculum in mind, and when you watch it, you're like, oh, there is the curriculum, right? I love that. And that was sort of the feeling I had reading Court of Thorns and Roses also, where I'm like, oh, I see how these things service the plot, and I see how the plot services the delivering of a fantasy. I think it's also got some nasty gore, if that's your thing. And there's a guy with a silly voice in it. Anyway, recommend. What next? Okay, so there is a book called Epic Fail. There's a book I'm gonna look it up. Epic Fail by Clara Lazebnek is a book that I really liked in high school. I have not read it in a while. It didn't die. I don't know why I referred to it like that. It is a Pride and Prejudice retelling kind of story. Maybe I should give Jane Austen another try. I'm not a Jane Austen fan because I am a Charles Dickens fan, and the reason I present that as a dichotomy is because in college English class it was like you have to read Sense and Sensibility and Hard Times, and you can write an essay about one of them. And I did not like Sense and Sensibility. I found it very boring and I couldn't really get through it. And I love Hard Times. Can we have one tangent, please? Okay, so Hard Times by Charles Dickens is a book that really spoke to me at the time I read it in college, and I cried a lot over Louisa Gradgrind, my beautiful Louisa Gradgrind, who I don't know if I read it now if I would be affected in the same way, because at the time I really identified with her feeling of having reached adulthood and the expectation of marriage to some guy, feeling like she has had no experiences to call her own, feeling like she has been void of human experiences, and she has nothing to call her own. She has no experiences to call her own. At this point in my life, I think I have some experiences to call my own. So I don't know if I would be quite as affected in the same way, but she still makes me very sad. At the end of the story, it says that she never remarried, but she is like a part of her best friend's family, and her best friend's children love her. So I think that's awesome. I think Louisa Gradgrind is a beautiful lesbian icon. To me. And she has been since college. To me. Anyway. So that's why I don't like Jane Austen, because of the ridiculous rivalry I've made up in my head. Anyway, Epic Fail is a very good book despite that. Epic Fail is based on Pride and Prejudice, which I have not read, and basically these sisters are going to a new school for the first time, and their parents both work at the school. Their mother is now the principal, and their father is like a teacher there or something. So they're kind of like, it's kind of a nerdy situation to start off with, I'm like the principal's daughter. Anyway, there's one child there who is the son of a movie star, and he's very grumpy and rude and all that, and she's like, he thinks he's all that just because he's a movie star's son, but actually he's just been very hurt by people who only wanted him for his status before, so he is responding to that, and she gets to find out like his true self, his true personality. At the same time, she's been befriending like the nerdy kid that no one really likes, but he's like really funny and really charming, and she's like, I don't know why everyone's bullying him, I have to stick up for him. And then that kid ends up being like some sort of creepy sex pest kind of guy. So the moral of the story is like, don't judge a book by its cover, etc. Something I remember really sticking out to me about that book is that the movie star kid had like a secret house that he took the main character to, and was like, this is our secret house, that we take the media to our fake house, and this is where I really live, and you're allowed in it. And that always really stuck with me as a very heartwarming thing. You're allowed in my real house. One more book. How about These Violent Delights, written by Chloe Gong. This is an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. I discovered it because one time I was at a Barnes & Noble, and I was trying to leave, and I couldn't find the exit. And there was a woman there organizing books on a table, and I thought, awesome, she must work here, she could tell me the way. And I said, excuse me, where's the door? And she said, I actually don't know, I'm here organizing books for a signing. I wrote these books. And I was so embarrassed, I was like, oh my gosh, you wrote these books? Can I see? And that's how I wound up with a signed copy of Chloe Gong's These Violent Delights. Because she wrote them. I was so embarrassed to leave and not get one. It's fine. It's a good book. It's not something I saw myself reading again, and it's also very large, so I ended up donating it to the library, and I hope that someone else is enjoying it, and I hope that someone else is like, oh my gosh, this is signed. This is an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet that takes place in Shanghai in the year 1926. At the heart of it all is 18-year-old Juliet Kai, a former flapper who has returned to assume her role as proud heir of the Scarlet Gang, a network of criminals, far above the law. Their only rivals in power are the White Flowers, who have fought the Scarlets for generations. And behind every move is their heir, Roma Montagov, Juliet's first love and first betrayal. There is some sort of plague happening, there is a lot of drama. It's a book, it's fine. I did not particularly like or dislike it. It was fine. Well, that's all. The whole recording took about 32 minutes, and half of that was waiting for various noises and such to stop, or chewing on my words or something like that. Well, I hope you enjoyed the Cam Booktuber hour, the Cam Booktuber half hour, the Cam Booktuber 20 minutes, the Cam Booktuber 10 minutes. Hey, future me, put in whichever one of these applies most. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe. Bye-sies!